Hello and welcome back. The front end is all back together. It's pretty trick. If you didn't see that, check out the last video. What are we doing today? As promised, I have skipped putting the wiring harness back on the bike because that's common. Wow, does that go there? Does that go there? Oh, does that go? Get on with it. Right, so I've cut it all out. It is on the bike. Everything's good to go. Haven't attached any of the third-party electronics like I've wired up the Campan Vertec Campan Cockpit Assistant, and I haven't put on any of the Dynojet stuff yet. So basically what we're going to do now is turn it on, read all the FI codes, and then clear them, turn it off, and then see what errors are popping up. So I need to check all the little finer details, like is everything to do with the throttle position, the correct settings, so on and so forth, because I don't want to load on all the new stuff, all the Dynojet stuff, and then find that there's problems with the original setup. So first things first, let's plug the battery in, let's turn it on and see what FI codes. Let's get into it. So I'm not actually going to fully mount the airbox, I'm just going to plug it in because I need to get readings from this, hence and plus I've got to do a bit of an airbox upgrade, which I'll show you either later on or in the next video. I don't know, maybe edit it out. That'll do. Does anyone else get annoyed with the stupid little blocks that are in there to, like, you know, attach your screw to? It's just like, it's such piss poor design. Once they drop out, you never see them again. Oh, so annoying. Found it. Ha! Okay, let's just take out the headlight one. Before I get the laptop, there are probably some little things I should probably mention at this point before I go any further, because I didn't actually just coughed up a bit of sausage. Oh my god. Things that I didn't film yesterday. Oh my god. Getting all the wires tucked away neatly enough to actually get this to go on, and I broke where the headlights, had to completely dismantle it and rebuild it and do a bit of plastic welding and stuff, but it's not pretty and too fiddly to film. Anyway, so I've made a little protection bracket for the Cockpit Assistant. See that there? So no rubbing can occur on that corner through there. And I've fitted my MOSFET, regulator rectifier. These are the ones that comparatively don't fail. They don't get massively hot. They dissipate heat really well. They're much more reliable, not leaving you stranded on the trail. So I've put that on because I did have a failed regulator and I was livid. I was stranded. Anyway, gonna get the laptop, then we'll turn it on. Okay, so before I plug it in, let's turn it on. Oh yes, hello. Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to count all the flashes, I'm just going to plug it in and let it tell me what the problem is. Here we go, let's get into it. That clicked in? That is clicked in. Right, let's see. Power on, everything's fired up. Connect. There we go. Let's erase all the error codes to start with. Secondary air injection system, short circuit or ground or open circuit. That's because it's not connected. But that's it, only one error code. And that'll be why it's flashing. Right, here it is, ever so slightly under. Only just a little bit under. Right, I'm gonna have to adjust the throttle position sensor. I've been pissing about with the left and the right side of the throttle body. I mean, this is all covered in L. Ponkin's guide about EFI on ADV Rider, but basically I need it between 0.7 and 0.7, and it was at 0.69 and 0.7, and I've just kind of shimmied the. So I've basically undone these, shimmied this a little bit, done a little bit of pressing of the throttle body at the top very gently, and I've undone this and just made it just a tiny bit. There's a little bolt that screws down into it. I've just made it like 1/8 of a turn further in, and I've done the old throttle reset. Let's have a look. So now when I open it, and the issue I had before is that when I open the throttle fully, it never said 100%, it always said like 97, and you ease it back down, but then equally it kind of always said 2%, so now it says it goes from 2% to 100 and back down. I've done that over and over and over again. I've done it like 40 times, and this keeps coming back down to 0.72, which is just in the middle of the range that it needs to be. I mean, this is not a how-to, this is a how I've done it, because I'm an idiot. But I am happy with that, I think. So I'm going to get myself a fresh download of the Evo2 Map from TuneEcu.net. There it is, map database, Austrian OEM maps. I hate this laptop. 0233 FI, downloaded. 0233 EP, downloaded, open. Okay, 0233 FI, SAI turned off, O2 sensor turned off. We've got a green flashing light in the bottom corner. Download to bike. Here we go. Yes, 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 yes. Go. Little click. As much as I love that you can do this with this model of bike and quite a lot of the 690s, it still just makes me feel really sick every time I do it. Every single time. Because there is just that small, like, what if I do it wrong? What if I do it wrong? Done. Cool. Download done. Now, let us. 233 throttle map. So soft mode, for instance, if I put it into different display mode, the graphic mode, as you see, I only get 45% of the power, which, considering I'm going to have quite a lot more power, it's cool. My previous custom map that I built gave me 75% and much more linear in its journey up to it. This is much more of a curve upwards. Yeah, let's do it. Download. Okay. We've heard the little click of the throttle body kind of resetting itself. Right. Ooh. Right, the THAAD and APAD are reading between 0.7 and 0.74 consistently. Now we can move on. Let's, what we're gonna do, let's get the Cockpit Assistant properly connected. So we're gonna connect the, temperature sensors and the thing that connects to next to the temperature sensor. It's pretty straightforward. It's on the left side of the bike. Let's do it. I am going to tidy all this up, but just for test purposes, this is going into the back. So I'm going to measure the engine temperature in here. You can plug it in down the front to measure the water temperature, but I want to know oil temperature. So it's gonna, this feeds across here. There's another connector on the other side. That. Fiddly AF. Only goes in one way. And there's this inline connector. I think there's another one with the Dynojet stuff, and then this also connects onto here. So I'm going to need to neaten this up. Okay, that goes on there. I'm going to need to neaten all this. Right, I'll leave it hanging out like that because I think I've got to add another piggyback to that as well in a second for the Dynojet stuff. Right, let's get into it. Now, on the newer models, Powercommander goes, you can tuck it in there somewhere, but there's no extra space around there. So it's suggesting that it goes in here and gets Velcroed on, which seems like an alright place to put it. I don't think I'm going to be trusting the old Velcro though. I'm going to actually physically attach it. I'm not going to use Velcro then. I think I'm going to use a little rubber pad and I'm going to zip tie it on just so it's nice and secure. Alright, wire it in. Okay, so this needs to go on here. Next stop. So this is for the throttle injector. So this one comes off, on, and then that connects into that. This secondary air system. They're going back now. Do one. I had some resistors lying around, so I've just made like there's a resistor in there. Just gonna completely remove the SAS thing because it is giving me an error code. No. Airbox is connected. Let's see if we get an FI warning now. Come on. Oh yeah. Eat it, SAS system. You're done. All I've got to do is just carry on blanking off these tubes. So this thing that was on the back of here, so you've got your crankcase that comes up to here, the tube that then goes round to there. This was kind of hanging away, so it wasn't really working in the first place. So I've just completely pulled it off. So now I've got the vent hose coming up to here. And what I'm gonna do is I've got a filter, K&N vent crank through the thing. When the filter does arrive, it will sit in the area where the previous, venting system was. You get me? Right, so after an enormous amount of rewiring and repositioning and rewiring and then cutting it down and cutting it down and cutting it down and soldering and soldering and soldering and just... It's finally on, secure, even though I've hooked it all up. I haven't actually tested to see if it powers on and stuff, so let's do that. Now, we're all plugged in, the cable is in the laptop. Right, let's have a little look. So, Powercommander's set up. So here, we're in fuel. So what they've given me is map and edited for it to be 732 up from 654. This is the percentage extra that they've given me across the band. And then auto tune, we're aiming for 13.2 air fuel ratio, but basically it's set up to run. Let's have a little look, see, Powercommander tools, features, input selections, have a look what's going on. Quick shifter is not installed yet, we'll get round to that I think in the next episode. I'm still waiting for a single part. Auto tune is enabled, configure, it will start running after 60 seconds. So the base map over here, so the one they've given me with the extra percentages across the range, that should run the bike. It may not be amazing, but the bike should start with that. Hopefully. It's very exciting. One device connected. Let's turn the power on. I just want to turn it on, but I can't. There's so much left to do. Like, the only fluid in the bike is the fluid in the forks and the shock. So I've got to put engine oil in it. I've got to put the coolant in it. I've got to set up the airbox because the airbox isn't ready to go. I'm going to do that in a second, actually. What else have we got to do? There's no brake fluid at all. Technically, no brake pads in the front. There's just, I've got to do all these tiny little things. A lot of which I'm not going to show you, like bleeding the brakes and all that stuff. I've done videos about that already, so I'm not going to show you that, but I will just get on with that. Later on, I've got to put on the exhaust as well. That's going to be hilarious. What do you want to see first? What do you want to hear first? The decat stock, or do you want to hear sawn off a Klapovich? It's a stupid question really, isn't it? Let me know. That'll be in the next video. I'm not going to start it. I don't know. Am I going to start it in this video? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm super pumped that the Dynojet stuff is working. It's registering. Oh, is it a grenade? Right, let's talk about the airbox. Where to start? I'm a bit hanging still, 2 days later, so forgive me if this is a bit rambly. Let's get into it. First things first, gotten rid of the secondary air system, so I'm just gonna cut that there. So I no longer need this because this feeds dirty back into the airbox, so that's got to go. This has got to be plugged still. Right, so I'm just gonna plug that, and just while it dries on there. So in my original budget, this was going to completely go. I think maybe possibly only really apart from that bit there, like the actual bit that connects to the throttle body. Because I was going to turn this into a Raid garage underseat fuel tank, which looks like this, and there'd be like a little pod filter here. So this would be a fuel tank, this would be a pod filter, and that was in my original budget. And so much to my surprise, and I was hoping mainly just to get a load of fuel range, it turns out both people I spoke to, so Lyndon Poskett Racing, who builds high performance 690s literally for a living, and Grey Area KTM, which sell high performance parts, and they both said independently without prompting that I should not get a small pod filter if I'm going up to 732 and need to have an airbox, but with a higher flow, bigger air filter, whether that be the, I can't remember who it's made by. I've got the high flow one, which is designed specifically for rally racing. So let me show you what it looks like currently, and maybe try and explain a little bit of what they said. And Lyndon particularly was very specific, and here, as much as he wasn't about to give me a comprehensive lesson in aerodynamics, it's to do with the back pulse pressure of the actual airbox versus a small pod, which just is literally connected directly to your throttle body. And as much as I didn't pester him to give me a full-on breakdown of exactly how it works, he just said it was really important if you're going for that size of engine to have back pulse pressure, and then you need an airbox to be able to do that. So I did a little bit of researching for myself, and I also, you know, had been told the same thing from Grey Area KTM, and they said you've got to use the proper airbox. But let me show you what I've got inside. Oh yeah, word to the wise, don't leave your airbox out in the garden, in the spidery bit of the garden, because when you come to take a snorkel off, what you find, dear God. It's all cleaned up now. There is an article that I found, because I wanted to learn a bit more about what they were talking about without actually hassling these poor people. Here is, and this goes on there like that. I haven't oiled it yet, because I know I was going to be making this video, but I will oil it shortly. So the biggest problem with the airbox, other than the fact that it's massive, and this is the other thing, like, I'm not saying nobody can ever use the Raid Garage air filter and underseat fuel tank or storage space solution, because clearly that does work, but I've been told that it's not a good idea for a 732. And considering considering that that's only what, 39, is it 39 cc's bigger than the current 690 engine, and obviously lots of people have got the Raid garage underseat fuel tank and pod filter setup on their 690, and they're running the high lift camshaft and all that stuff, or the Rally camshaft. I'm not saying that won't work. All I'm saying is that I've been told to do this because this is, you know, whatever. So biggest problem with this particular airbox, well, a lot of people have found, and I've also found, but it's not so much of a problem with this particular one because it's rubber, and when you put it in and you pop on your thing, you do it up, it does press down on the rubber and it seals that space around there. Pop a little grease on that little ledge around there, which I did do. Obviously I've wiped it all off because I cleaned it up a little bit, and it seals the gap through there. Now, biggest problem you do get is when you upgrade to the Rally foam air filter for the 690, which I've gotten from Rally Raid. Hold on, here it is. This goes on here. When you mount it up and you screw this down, the first thing you notice when you look at it sideways on is that there is a massive gap. No matter how tight you do this up and no matter how much grease you put on it, there's going to be like a fairly sizable gap between this piece and the actual airbox itself. So 3 days ago I anticipated that and I got this piece out, and I've looked at the spaces where there is the most gap and I have built it up with black silicone sealant around there. So when I do pop this on, like so, so now, no matter what angle I look at it from, that nice rubbery black silicone sealant creates a perfect airtight seal. So no air or dust or whatever is going to escape underneath that plate. And so then, once this is all lubed up and whatever, this just pops over. So this will be absolutely nicely permeated with air filter oil. And then you just do that up. Nice and tight, nice and sealed. I'll put a link to the article that I was reading to kind of teach myself about the back pressure and stuff and the flow of air through airboxes that helped me understand a bit more about why I should use this over thingy. But as you may have discovered from my previous videos on this build series, I'm not actually any form of engineer, and I'm no genius. I had to read it a few times to kind of get the information to sink in, but I'll put a link down below. It's really super interesting, or really boring depending on the kind of person you are. But yeah, when you look at it from every angle, there's absolutely no way that any air or dust is getting past that seal. No way. No grease required. It is a tight seal. Oh. Right, I have bled the brakes. They are rock solid, especially on the front. If you have got a non-ABS version, my advice would be do your bleed process, and if you're getting a little bit of sponginess still, just disconnect the brakes and then just hold it upright. Let the line be straight, because it does collect a little bit of air in the top, which is super annoying. And even though I quite often get the sponginess, like, I've just never bothered to actually just do that. Dick. But now it's rock solid like my BMW brakes were, and I love those brakes. Just like, it was, yeah. Ooh. Right, what have I got left to do? I've got so many things to do. So here it is. Here's the seat. The earlier 690s, like the one I have, the 2009 through to something, I think the stock seat is not perfect, but I can sit on this pretty much all day, especially if I'm off-roading, because there's a bit of standing up anyway. I'm not building a touring bike, so I don't need this seat to be unbelievably comfortable forevermore. Like, I just need it to be comfortable for like 4 hours at a time. So, as I mentioned last year in my video about the bike, I do have a comfort ergonomic seat, and the only real difference to it is that the foam that is underneath here, see how it's got these two ridges here, this platform here has got a curved gel on it, so there's technically no flat space for you to sit, which is kind of annoying because the gel that they've used is kind of hard. So what you end up doing is feeling like the gel is trying to destroy your ring piece. It's really quite an unpleasant experience. But because I've got the ergonomic seat, I also have the, you know, the ergonomic comfort cover, and this cover is knackered. When the guy knocked it over, he appeared to be trying to get the seat off, and he was just basically just pulling at the fabric. Don't know what was going on there. Now, this seat pan, it does have its issues. The front stuff here where you attach it, that tends to give way, obviously, being a little bit older. And so what I've done is I've just made like a little steel bracket, stainless, allegedly, stainless steel bracket, which means that the seat is always fixed, like it's never gonna, that plastic's never gonna break, kind of thing. But what I need to do today is get this cover off, get the new cover on, and I need to fix this as well, and I think that's riveted by the looks of it. Yeah, soft, hard. Soft with a nice platform for your cheeks. You can almost tell where my arse cheeks go. Why would I want to sit on that rather than that? That'll do it. 2 hours later, not my finest work, but it looks a lot better than the other one. I'll be honest, I ran out of staples for the good staple gun, so I had to use the rubbish one, so it might even just be a temporary cover, but it looks great for now. That'll do. Right, with that out of the way, I think it's time to fit the clutch slave cylinder, the Oberon. Instructions are not giantly clear, but it's, you know, it's not rocket science. I'm guessing these things, even though Chopsy reckons they're for a different bike altogether, but I reckon they might be some sort of relevant sort of like crush washery thing that goes there, I reckon. We'll see. So let's loosen this first, because apparently that's a pain, according to Chopsy. So, a clutch mineral oil. I figured I'd do this in here where I've got light. It's a bit dark outside. Now, I don't want to fill it up because when I go to put it on the bike, the actual act of doing it up is going to press that in. So if it's all that up, so I'm going to do it to the point where when I press it all the way in, that's pressed all the way in and it's flush. It'll go back down in. Because again, doing it up, as I do it up, the push rod is going to push that all the way in. So when you pull the clutch in, it pushes the push rod back. Switch this over and try not to lose as well. Oh my God, just get on with it and do it. Let's do this. So much for the crush washer. Shiny, very shiny. Ooh. I need the gasket and need a little bit of oil on there. Gasketa. Just a little bit, just to stick it on. A bit of mineral oil just to help it slide in. Okay, roughly in place. Then on the top left bolt, a bit of Loctite. Okay, level it out. That's not the bolt that goes there, but for now it is, while this settles in and I bleed the clutch. But I think until tomorrow, Brian's your uncle job's a good one. Got a little bit of light left. I'm going to leave it there. There's coolant, oil, air filter, oiling, putting all the plastics and stuff on, rally foot pegs, chain and sprockets. Those are all super quick things to deal with, or at least in reality. But in film time, it takes a while. I'm going to be super quick. I'm going to try and get everything, all of this stuff done tomorrow. But for now, bloody mosquitoes. Ow. I'm going to call it a day. See you in the next one. Like, subscribe and share. I think next time I'm going to pull the pin on the grenade.